What do you do when you are journeying through life and the overwhelm becomes so much that it just stops you in your tracks? We've been discussing that regularly, and what we wanted to talk about today was journaling as a tool to
Yeah.
get out from underneath the overwhelm, because that's often an effective thing. So Rachel, we literally started this month with your blog post, which was essentially a journal entry.
Yep.
And it was about getting out from under overwhelm. So tell me more about what that looks like for you.
Yeah. I was actually doing some journaling even before we met
That's
today.
right, she was.
I think one of the amazing things about journaling is that it allows us to have some space between whatever it is we're dealing with and ourselves. Otherwise, all these things are in my head. All the sensations, the feelings, they're in my head, they're in my body. There's no separation between them and myself.
Right.
So by writing them down, it just creates a little bit of space. And when I'm talking about journaling in this kind of moment, it's not just writing down how my day went or what I'm thinking or feeling. It's very targeted. I'm purging things. So in the blog post, actually, that was like a big brain dump. So that was covering more of just all the sensations I was feeling.
Right.
But then today when I sat down, I noticed I'm agitated about some stuff. What is going on? Why am I agitated? And so I just started writing down, I'm irritated about this. I'm a little irritated about this. And each one of those things would be maybe an irritation on their own, but bringing them all together was creating this sense of frustration that I was having. It was annoying me that I felt frustrated. Okay, so what is it? And I just began to identify it. Oh, I'm a little bit concerned about this thing. So I just wrote down my concerns. Just that felt calmer. And then I was like, okay, what's next? What does my system feel like it needs next? I simply need to identify some of the things that I want. And that doesn't mean I'm going to do anything with any of it. I'm going to create some space. Because part of what was happening is I had these concerns and they were kind of rubbing up against the fact that those are not the things I want, but there's things I want, but I also haven't fully identified them. So I hadn't fully identified the concerns and I hadn't fully identified the wants. And there was this internal conflict going on. Okay, let's go see what's going on in here.
Did you know that before you went into actually writing the journal? Or were you experiencing the kind of internal chaos and you realized, I just need to sit down and get this out of my head?
Yeah.
And the clarity came with the writings.
So I recognized that there were things I was feeling agitated about and I needed to sit with it and process a little bit.
Right.
But I found as I was just thinking about it, it was not bringing me peace and it was not helping calm me down. And
Okay.
it wasn't like I was super agitated, but it was going to make it hard for me to function and do the rest of my day if I don't take some time and do this.
Okay.
So that's when I was like, all right, if you sit down and write some of these out, you're going to feel some clarity on what it is that's actually going on and some separation. Like I said, it creates a little bit of distance from what I'm feeling. And one of the things Rebecca and I have learned in IFS is sometimes when you're looking at a feeling or sensation, is it too close to you? Is it too far away? What is that? That sensation is so weird how you can look at an emotion or something that's going on in you and realize, oh, that feels way too close. It's crowding my space. And that's how it felt. Like all these things are crowding my space. So as I journaled, I just wrote them down, even just a dash tick mark, and wrote down, here's this thing is irritating me. Here's another thing that's irritating me. It was just a list of the things that are bugging me right now. As I did that list, that's when it began to shift and I realized, oh, part of what's going on, I'm frustrated with this also because I want these other things that conflict. So it's like, not only do I not want this thing, it's also because I want this thing. I wasn't aware of that kind of dynamic until I started. So I'm not sure if that was part of what you were asking me a minute ago, but
Yeah. So, I mean, what you became aware of was internal conflict or chaos or overwhelm, anxiety maybe, and you were thinking about it, you were processing it,
Yeah.
but you discovered, hey, I'm not getting any resolution. And
Yeah.
for you, that was a call to go and sit down and go a little bit deeper and write it out,
Yes.
get it out of
Yeah.
your head. Then when you sat down and started writing, the process of just letting your free flow thoughts onto the paper led to listing out what you were experiencing or the things that you were worried about individually, which then led to you going, oh, part of the reason that I'm experiencing so much internal conflict is I'm trying to figure out the answer to scenario A, but I can't do that until I know what I want. And I don't actually know what I want. That ties into what I'm trying to figure out. It sounds like the overwhelm, the chaos, the anxiety were the trigger point to, I'm going to go sit down, free flow my thoughts, list it out. And it led to a moment of clarity of understanding, okay, that's why it feels that way.
Yeah. And I would say for me, and this may not be what you mean, but I would say for the free flow, when I did the blog post, it was just a dump of whatever I was feeling in the moment.
Right. Okay.
Whereas today, it was very specifically, I'm going to sit down and write what I'm concerned about. These things are coming up so much, just go write them down. Identify them, separate them a little bit. I know Dr. Allison Cook talks about the importance of simply naming what we're experiencing and what's going on, just naming it, because then you can begin to work with it.
Okay.
For me today, that also led to not just here's all these things that are irritating and frustrating me, but also part of why they're irritating and frustrating me is because I want these things. The things that I'm dealing with are not leading into the things I want. So now it's like, okay, no wonder we have some conflict going on and some internal turmoil happening. So I just want to encourage people to take time to do some journaling. And if you don't have much time, you can keep it really short and concise. It doesn't even have to be a full sentence. It could just be, oh, this interaction, or this thing for my kids, or this thing for my house, or this thing for my job. You could do high-level notes and begin to let yourself create some space. For me, taking the 30 minutes calmed my whole system. And then I was able to, oh, okay, now I'm ready to re-engage with the rest of my day without still processing it and wrestling with it. And actually, Rebecca called me right in the middle of me doing this. And when she did, I instantly started to go into regurgitating the things I was irritated about.
Right.
I said to, well, you were there.
I was.
I think I need to go do a little bit more of this. I'm not quite done. And that was the space where I began to finish out the frustrations list. And then I shifted into identifying, this is what I want right now. And some of it was big picture, some of it was small things. It doesn't matter. There was no sort of, okay, I'm going to analyze this now. It was just create the space between overwhelming sensations so that I can go function in the rest of my day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing two different approaches to some degree. The day that you wrote the blog post was, I don't know what's wrong. I'm going to go sit down and journal to help me pinpoint what it is.
Yeah.
Today, when you sat down and journaled, it was, I'm pretty sure I know what's wrong because I have all these different things floating around in my head, but I need to sit down and name them so I can get more clarity. So I like that. I mean, two very different approaches, both of which I observe had the same outcome. You walked away with more clarity and you walked away with more calm.
Yes.
So
agreed.
When you sit down to journal, are there specific questions that you like to answer for yourself?
I think that really depends on what I'm processing in the moment. Like the question today was simply, what are you irritated about? What are you concerned about? What are you frustrated about? So that was the main thing. Anything that felt concerning, frustrating, annoying, wrote it down. I would say the third type of journaling that I personally use is just more of a daily check-in. I don't always do it every day, where I simply am writing down what I'm thinking, feeling that day. Sometimes I'm writing down events, something that felt significant or meaningful to me in some way. And I know if you look at The Artist's Way, I can't remember the artist who wrote that book, but they talk about your journal pages or pages, and you just sit down and write 3 pages every day just to begin to purge your system, because there's so many things rattling around in our heads that we don't often take the time to simply sit with and acknowledge. And something I've noticed for myself in particular is that my exposure to social media or whatever posts I'm reading, or I don't watch the news, haven't watched it for years, but I know if I'm taking in any news articles, I especially find my system feeling agitated because there's so many things that are frustrating in the world, and my focus can go sucked into that. So having a space where I'm just realigning with myself helps calm the chaos and frustration that can come from the sensation of being bombarded by hundreds of thousands of other people's perspectives and views that may or may not be aligned with my own. But I find sometimes it'll be so easy to get wound up about something that I'm like, oh, This is because you read this article and you're agitated about things that you wouldn't be agitated about and that you can't do anything about, but it's swirling around in your head. So let's go take a deep breath and let that go and acknowledge that we're not okay with it, but maybe I'm not going to consume as much of that. It's a whole side tangent on social media and consuming other people's ideas, like kind of getting myself back to what is it that's actually going on in me and aligning myself back with myself. So
yeah. Great. I like
Yeah.
that. All very good reasons to journal. And if you're not a hard copy book, leather journal, or paperback journal, and you prefer to write things digitally, use your phone. You got keep notes on your phone. Most people, it goes with them everywhere. Or if you have a laptop or a tablet regularly, I'll pull up OneNote and take a bunch of notes in there so I can search them and find the notes that I've written down for future reference. I know Rachel and another friend of ours, Becky, have an entire library of journals. And there is something about writing things with your physical hand that I think is very unique. But as someone who doesn't do that as often, I find that just grabbing my phone and putting my thoughts into the phone can be extremely helpful. And sometimes I'll just write my thoughts to Rachel to have a witness. I'm wanting a witness for those things. Journaling in some form, writing it down, getting it out of your head, putting it on paper can bring both clarity and calm. And we experience that regularly. It's one of the reasons that we do it, that we enjoy it, that we appreciate it. I also think there's something a little creative about that. So I enjoy the fact that writing invites a sense of creativity into my own personal space. And I will often get a sense of calm or clarity just by participating in something that felt creative. And I love the fact that I'm journaling to process experiencing high anxiety, and somehow that also feels creative. So it's like, oh, that's kind of nice. So yes, we invite you all to journal.
You can play with your words. You can express yourself and practice expressing yourself in different ways. I mean, obviously my list today wasn't the same type of journaling, but just even capturing that and recognizing, oh, I'm feeling this turmoil. If writing physically with your hand in a paper notebook doesn't fit, or if journaling on your phone with text, you can do an audio note.
Yeah.
It's the same, I think, as in seeing the words kind of separated from yourself, but it can be a very helpful way to process and release some of that, especially if you don't have someone else you can talk to. Allowing yourself to do a voice note as though you're talking to someone else. Just like Rebecca said, sometimes I just want to share it for it to be witnessed because it feels affirming. And okay, somebody else knows what I'm dealing with. Even if they're not paying super close attention, they can see this, what I'm dealing with, and it feels affirming. So,
Very true.
As always, we invite you to live fully present.
Thanks, guys.